Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Hey, Zaron.
What's up, Elizabeth Dutton?
Oh, you know what's ridiculous?
Oh, yes. I'm so glad you asked me. You know the phrase blowing smoke up your
Yes.
Okay, so that comes from a historical medical treatment. I just found out that used to be like back in the 17th and 18th centuries. That was a way that doctors would like cure things. They were like, oh yeah, you know what you need? Some smoke up your butt. And so they had like what was called the resuscitator kit. And it was like a rubber rectal tube and like a bellow. And then they'd get some dude with like a pipe or a cigar getting that thing like heated, like just fired up. And then they would pump all the smoke into the bellows and they go, all right, we're going to put this in your butt now. And then they would put the tube in there and they put smoke and they'd puff it into your body. And the reason why they did this was to beat a cold, a flu, a headache, rheumatism, cholera, pretty much whatever you had. They're like, smoke in your butt. That's what you need. We can't put any cocaine in your blood, so we're going to put some smoke in your butt. And the reason why, you may be wondering, is because tobacco enemas were considered very powerful because they're basically a stimulant. You know, anything with nicotine is a stimulant. So they were even trying to fight death with this. That's how strong they thought these were. And the reason why you've never, ever heard of a doctor telling you you need to put some tobacco in your butt is because by 1811, scientists had finally discovered that nicotine in sufficient doses is a poison. They're like, oh, wait a minute, everybody. Put down the resuscitator kits. We need to stop blowing smoke on each other's butts. This is not good for people. So then they stopped and thus ended the tobacco enema.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous?
That is ridiculous.
Medicine. See, this is why when people say modern medicine, I'm totally into it, but I'm also going to remain just a little skeptical because of tobacco enemas and things like that.
Well, what is today's booty smoke?
Yes, and what is today's booty smoke?
50 years from,
Well, I'm not trying to be like, I'm anti-vax. I'm just saying is that I'm not going to think that just because human beings come up with something that it's like, oh, this is cutting edge. I'm like, is this a tobacco enema or not?
That's what I'm saying. Is there something stupid that we do now that in 50 years?
I think blood boys are. Like when you have like a person in a chair, it's like who's hooked up to like a tube and they have their good, healthy young blood
like
pumped out of their body and pumped into your body. And you're sitting there all like vampire style. I'd say that kind of counts. So yeah, the blood bag boys or the blood boys.
Yeah, we'll put that on our list. That is
less ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Do you want to know what else is ridiculous?
Oh, I'm here for it.
It is ridiculous how easy it is to get one over on people as long as you drop a big enough name.
You mean like a celebrity name?
Yeah.
Not just like a big name like Benjamin Cumberbatch.
Well, maybe.
Wait, he's a celebrity. That doesn't really count. So like John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yes.
That's not a big name.
No.
Okay.
But his name is my name too. This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous. Zaron.
Elizabeth.
I've told you about Soapy Smith.
That you did.
King of the Frontier Con Men.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about Yellow Kid, top of the con man game. Both of these guys committed multiple ridiculous crimes in their time.
Yes.
And that's, you know what? That's the great thing about con artists.
That's what we love about them.
Well, as far as content for the show goes, like sometimes we can look at one specific con and then maybe someone who pulls off a couple jobs. Like, remember the dog show lady? She was a good con artist. She had a couple of them. I love the ones who just make it their life's work to swindle every possible person in every possible way.
You respect their ruthlessness?
Blanket. Yeah, they're just carpet bombing the world with their cons. So today I have one like that.
All right.
This woman was known as the patron saint of confidence women.
Ah.
Her name was Elizabeth Bigley at birth.
Can I get a candle at a 99-cent store from her?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. We'll have that in our merchandise shop
the glass candles.
someday.
Yes.
The Ridiculous Crime merch. So she's born Elizabeth Bigley, but she's better known as Cassie Chadwick.
Cassie Chadwick.
Cassie Chadwick. She's born in 1857 in Ontario, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the fifth of 8 children. So she's from this big family. She uses throughout her career, she uses like a dozen different names. But when she's a kid, she had a speech impediment because she lost her hearing in one ear. So it wasn't something that she was born with. She develops the speech impediment. And in order to overcome it, she starts to really speak in a super precise way. She's really mindful and focused, puts a lot of energy into how she talks. And she then, because she's focusing so much on how she talks, she focuses on how other people talk, and she gets really good at imitating people.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. You can see how this kind of shapes who she's going to be. She has this gift. She decides to use it. Her classmates growing up, they all thought she was really weird. She was an introvert. She could like sit by herself, totally quiet for hours and hours. Some people said it was kind of like she was in this trance, like she's not aware of anything around her. So she'd come out of it and be like a little disoriented, but she wouldn't want to talk about what she was thinking about. It kind of sounds like absence seizures a bit.
Okay.
But she was fine. Just
so she was beyond daydreaming is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. She's just like in her own world. She would practice the signatures of the people in her family a lot. Like she'd write them over
forgery,
and over again.
she would practice
forgery. Although when I was reading about this, I was thinking my grandma used to make me practice her signature because when I was like 7 or 8, she got tired. She's like, you know what? You balance the checkbooks. You pay the bills. Here's my checkbook. Sign the checks. So
practice
I would,
my signature.
I'd pay like utility bills and stuff, and I'd sign her checks. And so it's like I got really good at signing her name. Anyway,
my sister and I did the same thing, but we practiced our mother's signature. We just didn't do the checkbook part. We just practiced her signature, and then we got really good at it, and we did our own notes. So yeah, same idea.
So the same idea. So she's there. She's like making sure she can sign everyone's name that she meets. She's 13 years old when she pulls her first scheme. She wrote a letter that said that her uncle had died and left her a small inheritance. And it looked as a super convincing letter. And so she takes it and goes to a local bank and says, look, I've come into this inheritance. Can you open an account for me? So they issue checks that allow her to spend that money in advance on an account that doesn't even exist yet. So she gets arrested. She's 13. She's just cutting checks like, I'm so sad about my uncle. And then she gets arrested and they just tell her, don't ever do this again. They give her a warning. So, don't ever do it again. When she's 22 in 1879, she does in fact do it again.
That's actually not bad. 9-year wait. I mean...
Yeah, well, I mean, she honed. She thought about it. First, she saves up her money and she buys expensive letterhead.
Okay, smart move.
And then she writes a letter to herself using a fake name and address for like a fake attorney in Ontario that an unnamed philanthropist has died and left her $15,000 inheritance, making her an heiress. That's like $440,000 today.
So she perfects her first crime in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. She ups it. She has much nicer letterhead, and she puts all this like fake information to make it seem so real.
I was but a girl then. Now I am a woman.
She's come of age in her criming. So she's got to like announce her fortune now, right? She's got the letter. The best way she felt was to have business cards printed up. And apparently real heiresses in high society would do this.
Oh, totally.
Like calling cards,
like calling
right?
cards, exactly.
But hers said, Miss Bigley, heiress to $15,000.
It's like a .com business card.
Totally. So instead of, having it, it's associated with the name of like, the Ontario Bigleys. Well, no, she's heiress to $15,000. So from there... She like takes advantage of all the business practices of the day. She'd go and buy something really expensive and write a check on this fake account and then have it exceed the price of the item because businesses back then would be willing to give you the cash difference. Do you remember when stores did that?
Oh, yeah, totally. You could write a check over and then they would,
and they give you the change just for like walking around money. So I don't know if you can still do that. I don't know.
I don't know people who write checks anymore. Well, you write checks, right?
I do have a checkbook.
Yeah, see, there you go. So I take it back. I do know someone who writes checks still.
If anyone, though, was like bold enough to step up and be like, can you really afford this? Then she'd throw down her calling card. Like, hello,
read it right here.
$15,000.
Open your
print.
peepers.
It's got to be true. So the shopkeeper's like, well, you know what? If she didn't have the money, she wouldn't carry that card around with her. So, okay. And how much
reasoning.
Totally. And they're also like, how could anyone be so crazy to lie about something like that just so blatantly? So that con comes to an end. She gets arrested in March of 1879. At trial, she gets declared both insolvent because they're like, hey, you're not an heiress to anything. and also insane.
Ooh.
So she gets released to her sister, Alice York, in Cleveland. So they're like, you need someone watching over you.
They don't put her in an asylum, though. That's not bad.
They're just like, we'll let your family take care of this. And she said, I'm not going to do it again. But then she immediately did it again. So this time she just makes much better calling cards.
I like it. She keeps perfecting everything.
Totally. Try again. So she makes these really great calling cards that really look legit. Banks, attorneys, like everyone's convinced that she has this fortune. So they're giving her all this money with zero collateral. And the thing is that they would say, okay, we're going to make a loan to you. And they're insane interest rates, like horrible. And so, they're getting one. They think they're getting one over on her, and she's like, "Yeah, sure, okay."
Oh yeah, it's a classic confidence move.
And then she'd say, "You know what? Because you're doing this for me, I'm also going to give you a huge bonus." That she would then pay them out of the money they just gave her.
Yeah.
So her sister Alice York, this is how she described Bigley's arrival from Ontario to Cleveland. About that time, I was compelled to leave the city to go to Woodstock, Ontario for my health. I left my sister Elizabeth in charge of the house, and during my absence, she mortgaged all the furniture, giving her name as Mrs. Alice M. Bestedo. I came home and learned of her doings, but did nothing in the way of prosecuting her. She went to live in several rooming houses, and even there borrowed money by mortgaging furniture that did not belong to her. From one house to another she went and repeated the operation using different names. I paid many of her debts and squared matters for her. At that time, I began to think that she was unbalanced. She told me that she did not know what prompted her to do the things she did. So she's going out, it's like, using this money, this furniture as collateral.
I love that she's basically hawking
people's
furniture.
Stuff out from under them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a real nice chair.
So while her sister was out of town, Elizabeth Bigley, she's like, I'm going to go out and look for a job. She's not going out to look for a job.
No.
What she was really doing was going bank to bank, using the contents of their house as collateral to get loans. So she's like, here's my new name, whatever name she thought of that day.
Here's a silver soup tureen I brought in.
Exactly. Let me take a loan out. So the husband, Alice's husband, finds out and kicks her out.
Okay.
It's like, you gotta get out of here, because now that everything in his home is leveraged. So she gets kicked out. She moves to 149 Garden Street in Cleveland, and she rents the lower floor of this house. She tells the landlady, Mrs. Brown, that she's a widow. And she uses funds from one of her fake bank loans against her sister's furniture. She takes the identity of Madame Lydia de Vere, and she starts a business as a clairvoyant.
I was waiting for this
she's
move.
Just like, she is so, she's so tireless in her cons. She's just a shark. She's got to keep swimming. So shortly after she opens up, she meets this guy, Dr. Wallace Springsteen. They get married December of 1883. She takes the name Mrs. Lydia Springsteen, and they move to his house on Garden Street in Cleveland. The Cleveland Plain Dealer, they run a story and a photograph, because now, she's married a wealthy doctor.
Oh, so he's not a mark. I mean, he's not an accomplice. He's a mark.
He's a mark.
Okay.
So a few days after, her picture's all over the paper, people start showing up. They want payment for all of these loans. They're like, oh, wait a second. That's that lady that, hold on, I haven't been able to find her.
What luck.
So the husband, right? He verifies all their stories. He discovers that all the furniture that was given as wedding gifts were being repossessed because she had already mortgaged them. It's like they get all these gifts. She turns around, she's just getting cash for it.
She's at the wedding making a list.
Dr. Springsteen pays off his wife's debts because he needs to fix his own credit, and then he divorces her. He's like, I wash my hands. So she gets divorced from him. She continues to reinvent herself. That's just what she does. For a while, she goes to Erie, Pennsylvania, and she calls herself Marie Rosa. And she convinces all the locals there in Pennsylvania that she is the frail and sickly niece of William Tecumseh Sherman, Civil War general. Yeah,
odd choice. Very odd choice. I did not see that one coming.
Though. I love this part so much. So a witness just says, quote, through a trick of extracting blood from her gums, she led persons to believe she was suffering from a hemorrhage.
What? Oh, she bit herself?
I have no idea what this has to do with General Sherman. But they're saying, I'm General Sherman's niece and my gums are bleeding. I'm hemorrhaging.
Because everybody knows. It's the Sherman family curse.
She's like, my face is bleeding. I need to get back to Cleveland. So all the locals, they take up a collection to get her money to go back to Cleveland.
Oh my God.
Off she goes. And so she gave them this forwarding address. This is where I'm going to go. And the townspeople write to them saying, hey, you said you were going to repay us, to get your bloody gums out of here. And she writes back, I am so sorry to tell you, but Marie died. And then she writes this wonderful tribute to how great Marie was, and like, she was this tragic, and she loved you so much for helping her. So thank you so much.
Her last
but you cannot
words
get paid
for
back.
that town was so amazing.
Exactly.
I'm going to ask God to bless it personally.
So as Madame Marie LaRose, she gets married again, this time to a farmer who's named John Scott, and he's in Trumbull County, Ohio. She convinces
John Scott don't know what coming for him.
Poor John Scott. She's like, guess what? I'm being abused at home. I need someone to help me. And he's thinking, oh God, okay. Like this poor woman. She also wants him to sign a prenup. So it's not a big deal these days, but at that time, prenups were only used for the super wealthy.
Super wealthy, yeah.
Yeah. So they get married. They're full of charm, living on a farm, right? This goes on for 4 years, but she starts getting bored, right? Like she's kind of settled down. She's like,
she
her
made
gums
it 4
aren't bleeding
years.
anymore. Yeah. She misses the thrill of the hunt. So she goes to a lawyer and she writes up a sworn statement confessing to adultery, which is not true. And then she tells the lawyer, file for divorce. I'm out of here.
Okay.
Now, I think based on kind of like synthesizing all the snippets of information about this part of her life from all these various sources, I think that she got the prenup so she could just bust out the divorce quickly and cleanly when the time came. So it wasn't about money. It was like cutting the red tape and moving on. She was sharking again. Like, she's got to keep moving.
But then why even need the paperwork? You know what I mean? Like, I don't
know.
It seems like there must have been some leverage for her.
It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
So she divorces him. She marries a businessman by the name of C.L. Hoover. And they have a son named Emil. And she sends Emil to live in Canada with her parents and her siblings, like right away. And then in 1888, Hoover died and he leaves Bigley his entire estate. And that's $50,000 worth, which that's some cash then, because that's like $1.5 million today.
Yeah, that's a chunk of change.
Yeah, so she marries well. She has a kid, gets rid of him to go off to her family. He dies. Now she's an actual heiress. When we come back from this break, I'm going to tell you what old Bigley did with all that loot. All right, we're back, Zaron.
I like that it's working out for her. She's like followed that like dress for the job you want, but her job was heiress. She's like...
Yes, exactly. She's like, if you see it, be it. So we have Elizabeth Bigley, budding con artist. Mm-hmm. She has a son. She sent him off to live in Canada with her family.
Emil Hoover.
The old Hoover, little Emil Hoover. Hoover dies. She gets the chunk of cash. She takes the money and moves to glamorous Toledo, Ohio.
Oh, good choice. I'm telling you.
And it's there that she gets back into the clairvoyant business. So she resumes that old alias, Mademoiselle Lydia de Vere. And in Toledo, she was living it up. She had all these wealthy men as clients, and she just soaked them. Like, she's just running hard cons of being a clairvoyant. They're loving what she does. That's where she meets this guy, Joseph Lamb. Lamb believed in her. And not just all her magical powers and her clairvoyance, but thought she was incredibly financially savvy. Little did he know.
I'm hoping that she finds some partner in crime. That's what I want for her.
Well, he hires her as his financial advisor, and he pays her $10,000.
That's a mistake,
That's a lot of money then. Bigley, in turn, she got to forging, right? She draws up a fake promissory note from a rich guy in Cleveland for thousands of dollars. She tells Lamb, hey, can you cash this for me at your bank here in Toledo? If you can't, like, I'm going to have to travel out of state and get it cashed at my bank. It's going to be really confusing. Lamb, straight arrow, right? Everyone trusts him. He wants to help his new gal. He winds up cashing about $40,000 in forged checks for her.
Damn.
Huge amount of money then. Lamb and Bigley, of course, they get arrested. There's no way to do what she does and not get busted. So the problem is that she didn't pull the con and disappear into the wind.
That's what I was about to say. There is a way to do this. You just don't keep doing it. You do one, you move.
She pulls it and sticks around. So it's like no surprise. And they come after her. The San Francisco Call said that Lamb was innocent as he was, quote, held in the woman's power and did not knowingly commit a crime. So the fact that she's calling herself a clairvoyant, right.
Sorry.
Now the Cleveland Plain Dealer, they reported at 8 o'clock tonight, Joseph Lamb and Madame de Vere, the clairvoyant, who have figured so prominently in the Brown forgeries, were arrested and lodged in the Central Station. The warrant was sworn out by the First National Bank officials who, it would be remembered, had the $25,000 note presented to them for collection. This morning, the bank officials held a meeting to take action on the matter, and it was the first move they had taken since the matter had been made public. It is claimed that Madame de Vere forged the notes and then gave them to Lamb for disposal. For some time past, Lamb and the Madame have been intimate friends, and many strange stories have been afloat as to their actions. On account of Lamb's high standing in the community and the responsible position he held in the employ of the United States Express Company, very little reliance was put in the stories. It appears that the Madam has quite a romantic history and has been known as Lydia D. Scott, Mary Hoover, Lizzie Hoover, Lydia Klingon, and several other aliases, and whose right name is given as Louise Bagley. During her lifetime, she has had a most remarkable career and one, too, that has a history.
So it sounds like the Cleveland Plain Dealer was suggesting that he was not such an innocent Lamb.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But Lamb gets acquitted of all charges. Bigley, though, convicted of forgery and sentenced to 9.5 years.
Oof, that's rough.
Yeah, that was rough. So a lot of her victims, including Lamb, they called her the Lady of the Hypnotic Eye. So there were a lot of people that really did think she had hypnotic powers, and that was a really, that was a big thing at the time.
Yeah, she's got that Rasputin appeal.
Well, people believed that spirits could be conjured from the dead, that hypnotism was accepted as a way for a lot of transgressions, though. It wasn't me, I was hypnotized.
Yes.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and all that, right? The Boston Sunday Herald said in 1904, Cassie Chadwick, or Madame de Vere, for that was the name I knew her under, was the most remarkable woman I ever met in my life, and her escapades since she left the penitentiary do not surprise me in the least. And that was quoting Mrs. Flora Kissinger, matron of the Ohio Penitentiary, who was in charge during Bigley's incarceration from 1891 to 1893. She was possessed of wonderful hypnotic powers, could foretell the future, and even as a convict could bring to her men who were the cream of society, and force of her power compel them to do her bidding.
Now, I know you don't go for the woo-woo, but do we think...
Oh, I do.
Oh, do you? Okay. Now, do we think that she had a touch of the woo-woo, or that she was just really good at tricking both men and women? Because it sounds like she didn't just ply her wares on men who were amorous, but it worked on women with equal measure. So it wasn't just purely sex appeal. I think she might have had
a touch of a gift, that there's something about her.
Because she keeps going for it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mrs. Kissinger, the one who, was in charge of the prison, she said, as for the female department, she ran to that certain extent and we could do nothing with her. Mind you, I didn't say she hypnotized me, but I know she did others and I was afraid of her. She occupied the assistant matron's quarters, held receptions for her gentleman friends, and she would appear in the finest silks, practiced her arts at her own free will, in fact, did everything to suit herself. She always played the aristocrat, held herself above the other prisoners, and her power over the board of managers and other public men was so great that I was glad to get away from her. At times, she was as fine a woman as one could meet, polite, kind, and sociable. She had the most remarkable eyes I ever saw in a human being, and a beautiful mouth. One moment she would be all smiles, and the next her face would light up with anger. Then she carried on dreadfully. She would lose control of herself in the presence of the men who called, and they were afraid of her. So she is she's basically captivating everyone.
Yeah. She sounds
women.
like an 1890s Madonna, where just everybody's like, oh, wow.
Well, and while she's in prison, she works as a clairvoyant. She told the warden that he'd lose $5,000 in a business deal, and he did. And then she also said, guess what? You're going to die of cancer. And he did.
Well.
So I think she may have had a little bit
and also, if we're going to go down this road, let's say you do have a little touch of the woo-woo. wouldn't you then go into crime in the 1880s and 1890s if you're a woman and you could like be able to guess like, oh, this person's like, I gotta read, I gotta feel. Like I would use that angle if I
totally. And I think about it, it's like, you always have like family lore, old stories told by older relatives about people who go into a trance and, and she did that as a girl, you were saying.
Early
as a girl, she goes into these trances. She doesn't want to talk about it. And, we can explain it away, like I said, with like absence seizures and stuff like that.
Sure.
But it is, it's curious to me. I allow a little bit of the woo-woo into my life.
Well, like there's a porous boundary between what we know and what we don't know, and she seems to be able to cross.
Exactly. Yeah, she steps back and forth. So she starts this letter writing campaign to the parole board when she's in prison. She promises, look, I'm never going to do it again.
I've changed, everybody.
I swear to God. Sorry.
I'm sure you've heard this before.
Well, so she does 3.5 years. And then, after all these letters that she's writing, the governor of Ohio, William McKinley, future president of the United States, he paroles her in 1893. So she gets herself a job. She's working as a hat sales lady. And then soon enough, though, goes back into the clairvoyance game. She works as a seer.
Did she send a letter to McKinley warning him about like his future? Because
maybe
would have been helpful.
I don't know what's in the letters. So she's not only working as a seer, she works as a madam in a brothel that she opened up on the city's west side. She used the synonym Cassie Hoover for that one. That's when she starts going by Cassie. So Cassie Hoover, she's taken like a little bit of different parts of her life. In 1897, she meets Dr. Leroy S. Chadwick.
Oh, that's a name right there. Dr. Leroy S. Chadwick.
Dr. Leroy Chadwick. He comes from one of Cleveland's oldest, richest families. He lived on Euclid Avenue, which was also known as Millionaire's Row. And Leroy met Cassie Hoover, Elizabeth Bigley, as a client for her clairvoyance services.
Of course.
He had recently become a widower, kind of makes him a vulnerable mark.
Yes.
So
I can see
Bigley,
like the target
Cassie,
forming on him.
So Cassie made Leroy believe that she believed she was just a proper widow running a proper boarding house. And then Leroy broke
with
it to her.
A bunch of attractive women who only wear lingerie, but it's a boarding house.
And have a lot of gentlemen callers. They're like, no, it's a brothel. What your boarding house is actually a brothel. And then she faints. She pretends to faint. So when she comes to, she begs.
Amazing.
She begs Leroy, take me away from that den of sin. I've been pulled into a life of corruption unwittingly. And yes. So he does. He, gently cradles her off and then he marries her.
Oh, wow.
So Cassie Hoover became Cassie Chadwick.
Word.
And that's like her big name for her career. She called herself Cassie L. Chadwick. No one has any idea what the L stands for.
Oh, it's not like EL, like Spanish, like Cassie the Chadwick? L.
Chadwick. No, it's L, like take the L. So now, she's in the big time because Leroy Chadwick is rich.
Oh, yes. From the
famous
the
family,
Cleveland
lives
Chadwicks?
on Millionaires Row. From the Cleveland. So she sends for Emil. She sends for her son to come live with him.
Oh, right. I forgot about old Emil
Right.
Hoover.
Everyone forgets about Emil, right? So she's living in a mansion on the fanciest street in the city. One of her neighbors was a relative of John D. Rockefeller.
Wow.
Don't forget that Rockefeller, the world's first self-made billionaire, he was also the son of a literal snake oil salesman.
Oh, yeah.
So, simpatico. So Cassie, she goes on serious shopping sprees, right? If she feels like buying something, she did. She never checked price tags.
Good girl.
This raging, unchecked consumerism bought her the nicknames the Queen of Ohio and the Queen of Frenzied Finance.
That's a strange nickname.
I know, right? So during the Christmas season of 1903, she gave out 8 grand pianos as gifts. She's just slinging pianos.
Giving out pianos as gifts? Do you act like, so here, please have a piano?
Yeah, people someone down the street in one of their mansions their servant opens the door and it's a piano delivery.
Man just pushing a piano at them?
We got to figure out where to put this one. She bought drapes, oil portraits, a glass encased perpetual motion clock.
Oh, that's cool.
She bought a $9,000 pipe organ made of gold. She bought a musical chair that played a tune when someone sat on it. She got all these fancy couture clothes from New York.
She bought a gold whoopee cushion.
She bought Asian sculptures, European furniture. She bought 8 trays of diamonds and pearls that were inventoried at $98,000 at the time.
She bought an ashtray in the shape of Texas that was the size of Texas.
From the Bar Times Leader, a Pennsylvania newspaper, this is August 6, 1910.
Okay.
And this is regarding a pearl necklace being purchased by a famous ballerina later on down the line after Cassie's con falls apart. Jewelry was among the fads of Cassie Chadwick of frenzied finance fame. Among them was a pearl necklace worth $20,000, which for many months reposed in a safe of Chas F. Leach, collector of customs at the port of Cleveland. It was held for duty, and after the crash, when creditors big and little jumped on the woman who pulled the wool over the eyes of expert male financiers, the pearl necklace was seized with the rest, and the Baltimore jeweler finally bought it. It is now owned by La Petite Adelaide, the toe dancer, who does her stunts nightly both at the American Music Hall and in, quote, up and down Broadway at the Casino New York. The danseuse exhibits her treasure at the Hotel Flanders and incidentally upon her neck. She says she paid $20,000 for it, and the press agents say amen and swear to it. The necklace contains 225 pearls, each weighing 3.5 grains, and 140 small diamonds aggregating 10 carats.
Wow.
Why don't newspapers write like this anymore? First of all, newspapers are dying, R.I.P. But why don't journalists write like this anymore? The press agents say amen and swear to it. So this is one of the things she bought was this ridiculous pearl necklace.
Now, you said the crash. Was that like the crash of 1896 we're talking?
No, this is the crash of crash of Cassie Chadwick, because you'll see what she did to the economy.
Oh, so I thought there was a financial crash that her husband got.
No. So she's not just buying jewels, she's also smuggling them.
Oh.
This is from the Fort Worth Telegram in 1908.
I mean, she's made it and she still can't help herself.
Oh, yeah.
Girl
she
can't help it.
She can't help it. Throughout the erratic and varied criminal career of Mrs. Cassie L. Chadwick, whose persuasive eloquence caused some of the shrewdest financiers of the country to part way with their money, there was never a hint that she was a smuggler. The singular woman whose vast swindling operations in other respects attracted the attention of the entire world was a smuggler of diamonds and other jewelry on a most colossal scale, according to revelations now made. During her lifetime, she is declared to have smuggled into the United States merchandise, mostly jewels, worth $2 million. With the 60% tariff added, the value would be swelled to over $3 million.
Back then.
She's running jewels. Is what she's doing.
She's got hot rocks, and yet she's married to one of the most wealthy people in America. So this is just compulsion at this point.
Oh yeah, totally. And her Leroy's friends and family are onto her immediately.
Oh,
They're
really?
This is not right. None of them had ever heard of Hoover before she was introduced, so they have no idea who she is.
Oh, they don't know her family, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Or just her. All of a sudden,
I'm from the
he's
Toledo
like,
Hoovers.
But the first time he introduces them, it's like, this is my wife.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, you got married. He said he fell in love with her compassion when she gave him an impromptu massage after he complained about rheumatism pains in his back.
So compassion, that's what he calls it? One
wonders, did this happen at the brothel?
It's her compassion, her very compassionate hands, her warm embrace.
So Cassie, she's used her compassion. Now she's taken control of Leroy's finances once they're husband and wife. His money was in real estate, and real estate values in late 1800s Cleveland were on a real dip.
Okay.
But Cassie wouldn't let that interfere with her new lifestyle. She had standards to maintain. So she cooked up a con for the ages, a real doozy, and it would be her ultimate downfall. When we get back from this break, I'm going to let you know all about it.
All right.
Until then, here's a hint.
All right.
It involves one of the richest men in the world at the time.
Ooh, okay.
Zaron.
Elizabeth.
We're back. Did you like those ads?
Oh, I loved them.
They're so good.
Are
you going to buy all the stuff?
I got to put my wallet away. 1 second. Okay, go for it.
I'm going to buy all the stuff.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm buying 2, so I have a spare.
So that's planning right there.
Yeah. What am I, King of England over here?
What am I, Cassie Chadwick? When we left off, Cassie Chadwick, the real estate market in Cleveland taking a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie can't let that get in the way of her luxurious lifestyle. Time to run another con. So in 1902, Cassie Chadwick took a train from Cleveland to New York City.
New York City?
Get a rope. Zaron, close your eyes.
Oh, yes.
I want you to picture it. You are sitting in the lobby. You're sitting in the lobby of the Holland House, a luxury hotel on the corner of 30th Street and 5th Avenue. The building is a magnificent reproduction of the Holland House in London, a palatial estate. The main entrance and the stairs are all marble, bronze. The wine cellar alone is worth $350,000.
What?
The hotel brags of using the Herzog Teleseme. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's an electric indicator system where guests can like set a dial in their room to an item that they need, food, drink, whatever, newspaper. There are 140 options.
Huh.
And so you turn the dial and you press a button and the office gets the request and then they send it, whatever it is, right up to the room.
I
so
like this. Chop.
Lifting the receiver and having to speak to a plebe.
Yes. Give me a dial and a button.
So it was a big deal that they had the old Herzog.
Yeah, so this was like 1910 DoorDash.
Yes, 1902.
Whatever.
DoorDash. But it's the same. So there you are. You're in this opulent lobby. You're waiting for your business partner to join you for lunch in the grand restaurant at the hotel. While you wait, you're enjoying people watching. The cream of the crop is coming and going. You notice a woman also waiting in the lobby. She seems a little anxious, like she's waiting on someone in particular. You see her get up. She approaches a man. You don't recognize him, but he's James Dillon. He's a lawyer and a friend of the woman's husband. She walks his way and sort of brushes against him. And when he apologizes, she turns. "Oh, what a coincidence," she says. But you clearly saw her see him before she walked over. Weird. So she tells the man that she's only in New York for a little bit on private business. Actually, she tells him she's headed over to her father's house and would love for someone to escort her there. The man, James Dillon, he agrees, and he heads outside to flag down an open carriage. You, Zaron, are gloriously nosy. So you slyly make your way outside to the front of the hotel. You're pretending to look at your pocket watch as you listen to their conversation. You hear the woman give the driver an address. 2 East 91st Street at 5th Avenue. No, you're thinking, that cannot be right. And the woman, she said she was going to see her father. So you watch as the carriage rolls away and James Dillon and Cassie Chadwick, a.k.a. Elizabeth Bigley, chat happily away in the back. It isn't until they reach their destination that James Dillon realizes whose house this is. Zaron, you, a native New Yorker, you knew when you heard the address.
As soon as I heard that address.
It's the home of steel magnate Andrew Carnegie.
I'm like, that's Carnegie's spot.
Dillon's stunned. This is her father's house? Are you kidding me? So Cassie says, hold on, wait here with the driver. I'll be right back. I just got to run in quickly. I won't be but a moment. So she knocks on the door. The butler answers. And Cassie, she's dressed to the nines. She's well-mannered. She can speak in the way that makes her sound like a true heiress. He invites her into the foyer. She asks to speak with the head housekeeper. So now Dillon has seen her go into the house and the door closes. The head housekeeper comes out and Cassie says, "I'm thinking about hiring a maid. Her name is Hilda Schmidt. She said that she worked for you. I just want to check on her references." So the housekeeper's like, "No, I've never heard that name before. No one has ever worked here under that name." So Cassie's like, "Oh, that's so strange. Wow. Are you sure?" She Cassie describes this woman, like, height, hair color, everything, what, her composure is, gives her all the details. This is where she, was born, blah, blah, blah. Nope. Housekeeper's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about. There must be some mistake." So Cassie's like, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I have taken your time and caused any inconvenience. I want to thank you." She pulls off this conversation with the housekeeper for like half an hour. She's
okay. Nice.
And then
so she's just stretching time.
She's stretching time. So she's, I'm going to let myself out. Thank you so much. So she leaves. As she turns towards the street, she pulls out this large envelope from her coat. And then she's holding it out. So she gets back to the carriage and Dylan's like, oh, hey, what's up? He says to her, okay, so who exactly is your dad? Because we just pulled up to this house. Cassie's like, okay, I'm going to tell you, but you cannot tell anyone. Do you promise? Please promise. And she knows that is not a promise he can keep. I'm Andrew Carnegie's illegitimate daughter.
Well, issue with illegitimate, smart.
She shows him the envelope. She hands him the envelope. Yeah. And inside are 2 promissory notes, one for $250,000 and one for $500,000, both signed by Carnegie himself, plus $5 million in securities.
Like,
all
like
this paperwork.
Stocks and bonds type of securities?
Yeah.
Like she's got paperwork with like...
Yeah, she has all the paperwork. Uh-huh. So she says to Dylan, my dad gave me these because he feels a sense of duty to me. And he feels really guilty that he can't acknowledge that I'm his daughter. So he gives me this money all the time.
Andrew Carnegie, like the most notorious cheapskate of all the robber barons. Okay, go on.
I've got a ton of these envelopes back home. And I've just, I've hidden them in my stuff. I don't know what to do. And so she said, my relation to him is currently secret, certainly not public. But I am in his will, and I'm going to inherit a lot of money when he passes away, like $400 million, which today is $14 billion.
Damn.
So she's like, I'm sitting on $14 billion. But isn't that wild? Please don't tell anybody. So she's like, please, I'm begging you, just keep it a secret. He's like, of course. He's lying, and that's what she's counting on. So word gets out to the financial sector back in Cleveland, and the banks come calling. They want to get in on this and offer her financial services. She kept this con going for 8 years.
What?
She pretended to be his daughter. For 8 years, she had people thinking that they were in the know, that she was the secret daughter.
Wait.
And she kept...
And she's still married at this time, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and
she
so
totally
no one's
is.
going to her husband and being like, hey, you're going to get lucky?
No, because no one, they're all kind of whispering about it, but they don't want to talk directly to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah. So she takes out one loan after another under the guise of having this huge inheritance, which is what she's going to pay him off with.
And everyone's just like, oh, that ship will come in.
She's using those forged securities as collateral. And everyone she dealt with thought that they were like an insider on like a major society secret.
Classic con.
Yeah. They issue these loans. They think that they're operating under discretion. They never mention it to anyone else. They thought that they were saving Carnegie embarrassment.
Sure.
And the banks then are charging these outrageous interest rates. And they don't want anyone to know that that's what they're doing. They're taking advantage.
I think we got into the reason for secrecy. They were like, oh, we're going to make a ton off this fool.
So it starts to fall apart in 1904 when Herbert Newton, Brookline, Massachusetts, he brought a suit against her when she failed to repay a loan. And he learned that all the other loans that she had, he tallies them all up, and it comes to way over $1 million at that point. Cassie Chadwick can't pay him back, so he sued. And everyone else who loaned her money started to call in their loans. Sorry, pals, you're not getting paid. They looked at the securities and the promissory notes, and they realized that they're a little bit hinky. And then this winds up wreaking havoc on all of the banks in Cleveland. They splashed out all this money. They had nothing to show for it. Citizens National Bank of Oberlin, which had loaned her $800,000, they had a run on their cash reserve, and they went into bankruptcy because of her.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, she's destroying it. So the police are contacted. They question Carnegie. He has no idea who she is, of course. Bigley flees to New York to an apartment that she kept at the Hotel Breslin. She gets caught, arrested, hauled back to Cleveland. She had over $100,000 in cash at the time of her arrest, shoved into a money belt.
Oh, and then
that's $3.3 million today.
Yeah.
That she's running around with.
But that's just difficult to store. I mean, that's a lot of...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, the bulk of it. Yeah. She's got a puff coat on. Remember, okay, so her husband, Leroy, right? Uh-huh. He files for divorce. And then he takes his daughter, from a previous marriage, and they go on a grand tour of Europe. He just got the hell out of Dodge. He's like, I can't.
I'm going on the grand tour. To hell with this.
I want a divorce. I'm leaving. It goes to trial in 1905. Media sensation. So even Carnegie himself appears in person. When he later examined the forged promissory notes, this is what he said. If anybody had seen this paper and then really believed that I had drawn it up and signed it, I could hardly have been flattered. He noted that there were spelling errors and improper punctuation. Why, I have not signed a note in the last 30 years. So like, there's just, if anyone had thought for just a second about this, everything could have been avoided, he said, if anyone bothered to ask him. Yeah. But, they all think that they're inside on a secret, and
they were thinking about themselves, about what it was. They're all like, I'm going to get mine, so why should I go ask him? He's not giving it to me.
Exactly. They thought they'd be like, too embarrassed, right? Like they didn't want to embarrass him. So Carnegie gave money to the citizens of Oberlin who were affected by the scam. He gave money to Oberlin College.
I was going to say, is that why we have now Oberlin College? Is that?
Well, no, it was a college already, but they lost almost all their savings.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing, yeah.
And so he pays them back and then threw in a library, of course.
Okay.
For their trouble. He asked if he would press charges against her, and he said, "Why should I? Wouldn't you be proud of the fact that your name is good for loans of $1.25 million, even when someone else signs it? It's glory enough for me that my name is so good, even when I don't sign it. Mrs. Chadwick has shown that my credit is A1. So he's like, all you've done is I'm a baller. So this is
just flexing on y'all. It's okay.
I've said in the past about how you read these old newspapers and there are like poems in them and stuff, and you think, man, like it'd be cool if we still had, poetry as part of an everyday life. Yeah. And then I always think, no, probably not. And here's why it's probably not. Someone wrote a poem about her that was published in 1904. It's a doozy. It's called On the Pecuniary Collapse of Mrs. Chadwick. I'm going to start reading and I may give up partway through. Okay. Cassie Hoover wails the Buckeye in distress. Cassie Hoover moans the come on. Cassie Hoover howls the press. Cassie Hoover, Brookline swells the doleful sound, and the goldsmiths and hotelmen holler Hoover all around. I can't do anymore. It's so bad. It goes on like that and on like that. The last line, Cassie Hoover, says Carnegie. Who is she? Never heard of Cassie Hoover, never had a note of me. So
wow. And you say you miss poetry, okay?
I know, I don't. I really don't. Now I hate it because of this. So Cassie maintains her innocence to the very end.
Of course. What else can you do?
She's like, no, I swear I am. She gets found guilty, sentenced to 14 years in prison and a fine of $70,000. Because of her celebrity, they let her bring in personal items to prison. So like clothes,
what does that have
photos,
to do?
Furniture. I don't know. She pulled this last time she went to jail. Like she went to prison and they let her like have guys over and do like seances.
Yeah, exactly. Like if they don't, what is she going to cry every night? Like what do they care? It's a prison.
I don't know. But it's like the name, right? Yeah. She's got the name at this point. But even though she had all those creature comforts, she couldn't hold on. Her health suffered immediately when she went to prison. She rapidly lost weight. She had a nervous breakdown on September 17th, 1907 that left her blind.
Do we think it's hysterical blindness or actual blindness?
Probably. So she writes to Emil. Mm-hmm. And she says, I have money hidden away, and that's what I want you to use to buy a tombstone for the family plot. Emil's like, oh my God. She did just a year in jail, and then she died at the age of 51 on October 10th, 1907. Now, Tori Telfer is a writer. She wrote a book, Confident Women. Uh-huh. This is what she had to say about Cassie Chadwick, a.k.a. Elizabeth Bigley. She swindled a bunch of bankers in America, and people were obsessed with her. They made fake $20 bills with her face on them.
Wow.
One pharmacist actually sold a snake oil called Cassie Chadwick Nerve Tonic, which is supposed to make you bold like she was. So it's like she's hitching onto fame in order, or, notoriety in order to get her own notoriety, and now everyone's trying to hitch onto hers. In the Trenton Evening News in 1908, they said, the printing of Cassie Chadwick money must be discontinued. Chief Wilkie of the Government Secret Service will request District Attorney Baker to suppress the local enterprise. The Federal Book Company of this city prints the money and sells it to stores dealing in novelties. The Cassie Chadwick currency bears a likeness of the celebrated Easy Money adventuress, as well as photographs of a, quote, busted bank. So... even the Secret Service is like, please stop printing Cassie Chadwick bucks. It's not funny. She didn't have any formal education. She never had any financial training. And think of the time, she can't even vote. But she outmaneuvered the entire banking industry in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. Well, she turned their greed against them and made them all think like, oh, we're going to go wet our beaks. And then she's like, oh, surprise, there's no water.
Right. And they do say that it's possible that she scammed even more money out of, the upper crust in the United States and out of more banks. But like historians believe that a lot of the male victims were hesitant to come forward, that they got duped by this broad, as they would say. So that is her story. What's your ridiculous takeaway, Zaron?
Well, how you get to Carnegie Hall? It's the same way you steal a fortune like this. Practice. That's what I like about her. She's like, look, it worked before. I'm going to tweak it and I'm going to turn it up here. I'm going to dial it in there. I'm trying it again. She's like, wait, I'm going to do it again. Do it again. Like her commit. She's like a skateboarder of crime. She's just going to land that trick no matter what happens, no matter how many times she gets hurt, no matter times she's going to land the trick. And I respect that.
She's persistent.
Yes.
Yeah, she's persistent. And like the thing is, she could have gotten away with it, not if for the meddling kids, but if she just moved on.
Or just took a score and said that was the score.
Took a score.
I did it. She never stops doing. She just keeps going until someone else.
Leroy was the score.
Yes. She could have taken that and ridden it to Europe, said, I'm divorcing your dumb chunk of and out of here. But no, instead she's like, I got to have a string of pearls or whatever the hell. Yeah. I mean, like, really?
Oh, Cassie.
Like, okay. I mean, they're shiny, they're nice, but I don't think it's about the pearls, girl. So let's talk about something else. Maybe we can get you
it was compulsive. Yeah. She could not stop. Well, that's it. That's enough of Cassie Chadwick. I'm done.
What did you like about her? What's your ridiculous takeaway, Elizabeth?
Thank you. My ridiculous takeaway is that she is just persistent. She will not stop. And that the compulsion is interesting to me, that there are periods where she's able to kind of dial it down and she doesn't do anything. She lays low, but then it's like it's just this itch and she's got to keep going. She's got to keep doing it. And that fascinates me, that she doesn't have the logic to override it, that it's just this total compulsion for her.
It's like she's a criminal animal and it's like time for her to molt her antlers. It's like, oh, these are coming off. Sorry.
Well, and so wise to take advantage of people in the way that she does, like by using big names social embarrassment as a factor in things. And
she understood her times and definitely about that.
Yeah, she definitely did. So, I'm sorry for the people who lost their money, but she's a pretty interesting lady. You can find us online at Ridiculous Crime on both Twitter for the talkin' and Instagram for the gawkin'. Email us at ridiculouscrime@gmail.com if you feel like it. Tune in next time. Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by Dr. Dave Kustin of the Cleveland Kustins. Research is by suspicious loan agent Andrea Song Charpentier. The theme song is by missing Carnegie twins Thomas Lee and Travis Dutton. Executive producers are Oberlin College librarians Ben Bolin and Noel Brown.
Ridiculous Crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous Crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.